lady who walks around without being shady, who knows her values, who's gone through trials. Her smiles are captured from mouth to mouth. It's not the size of her thighs she worries about, but the pride she thrives to keep that drive. That cinnamon twist. That cinnamon twist. That cinnamon twist. Ladies, can you feel me? That cinnamon twist. That cinnamon twist. That cinnamon twist. Ladies, can you hear me?
Hey, it is your girl Tasha, known to the world as LaTasha Carpenter, but all of you guys call me Your Girl Tasha because when you hang with me, what it is like you. I want to tell you guys, look, your girl Tasha a little bit off kill. If y'all notice the little pink tablet not here today because I left it at home, but that's all right. Don't fear. I'm going to be interacting with you guys through the phone. So before we get started, because this topic is a hot topic and people need to be listening, I need you to share and invite. Share and invite, share and invite. Get it down right now. Share and invite and let me know where you're hailing from. Put something in the comments. But our guest today in the studio, guys, we're going to have to open this camera up wide. Y'all see the book here already? Yeah. Bam, bam, bam.
And make sure y'all get my good side, too. No, I'm joking.
Oh, Lord. He said get his good side.
Good side.
Get his good side. Yeah. This is Mr. Deontay Carroll Sr.
Yes. And you got the name right. You got the name right.
Deontay. Got the name he got the little exclamation point there.
Apostrophe right there.
It is not, oh, yeah, apostrophe. You know how your girl is. Your girl don't care. It's not Dante. It's Deontay.
Thank you.
Okay? It's not Target. It's Tarjay. Hello. We got it. See, I'm crazy right here. I'm crazy. All right, guys. So, look, he's a little bit nervous. So, I got to loosen him up. You know how we do here. And today, guys, this topic, I'm telling you, you really need to share and invite because there's so many people out there who are struggling with the addiction of porn, okay? Yeah. Struggling with the addiction of porn. And Deontay is the author of this wonderful book that we have displayed here, Saved, Sanctified, and Addicted to Porn, Overcoming Sexual Perversions.
Yes.
That's a strong title.
It's strong.
There, man.
It is. It's very strong. Very strong.
That's a strong title there. So you tell me, I mean, how do you come up with that title? How did you decide that that's what you wanted to be the title to wrap this masterpiece that you have right here in this book?
Well, I mean, the title came. I pondered on it. But the difficult thing about it is why. The question is always why saved, sanctified, and addicted to porn. And some people ask, is it possible? Yeah, the same way you can be saved, sanctified, and a liar, saved, sanctified, and you manipulate, saved, sanctified, and you conniving, right? We all have that saved, sanctified, but we got to discover what is your and. And so your and may not be porn, but your and may be something else. The only difference is people may not know about it, and it might not be out what I call in the church streets, right? So in other words, people might not know your business. And so the thing about it is, you know, we're all saved, but however, nobody's perfect, right? And so we all have issues. We all have things that we may wrestle with. We all have things that our vices, our Achilles heels, or whatever it may be. But this is just my Achilles. It was my Achilles heel, and it was a thing that I wrestle with. And so I know it's a little controversial, you know, because some people they want to be theologians and say, well, that might not be politically correct. Well, look, I can just tell you about my story. I can just tell you about my struggles, and I'm saved, so I'm gonna add this in here, right? I'm gonna just tell you how the Lord brought me through about my journey and what my journey was like. Because truth be told, it's a lot of people going through this kind of stuff.
Well, somebody said that you won't be nervous if you take off your shirt, you can feel better.
Take off my shirt, I can feel better.
Yes,
you know what?
Sir.
See, who said that? Who said that? Who said that?
Andre Johnson.
I ain't taking off my shirt. The devil is a lie, and his grandmother, and his niece, and his nephew. Right? You heard what I'm saying?
There we go again. It's my auntie. No, she cuts up with every show. That's just her. They said, Miss Andre, you are just a mess. My viewers are used to her being here. Look. We got Natasha checking in, listening from North Carolina. We got Tanya saying hello. Y'all know y'all need to drop and share. Yes. Miss Rose Heyman saying hello. Over here, Roberta, Brandon,
That's
Lamika.
My girl. Oh, Lamika Robinson. That is my boo. That's my fiance. Hey, babe, how you doing?
Lamika, look.
Where's she at? There she go, right there.
This will be the second guest in a row Okay, Miss Andre Johnson is my 65-year-old auntie. She just cuts up. She is no threat, okay? Last week, guest was like, I'm going to have to beat your aunt up, and she didn't know who she was, but don't even go there, okay?
Look.
She just shows love to all my guests, okay? She wanted him to be comfortable and not be nervous, Miss Robinson.
Boy, I ain't taking my shirt off, I promise you. I swear to God I ain't. I swear I ain't.
All right, so, okay. Now, what I thought was really interesting about the book, even though I didn't get the book until when?
She got it late. The bottom line, she got it late.
I got it like last Thursday, I think.
But you got the book, though. You got the book.
I was supposed to have it like 2 months ago.
That's
but I got it last Thursday, okay?
That's
but one thing that I do like about the book is that the book goes through, it's a different thing. I think that we have to, what Your Girl Tasha is about, is making sure that we educate our viewers, right? So, of course, if we're going to educate you and he's going to share his story so it can bless you, that means also that we probably have to look at the definition exactly of what porn is. So, according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, I had to pull it up. It says the definition of porn is the depiction of erotic behavior, as in pictures or writing intended to cause sexual excitement. It's also the material such as books or a photograph that depicts erotic behavior and is intended to cause sexual excitement. And the third definition says the depiction of acts in a sensational manner so as to arouse a quick, intense emotional reaction. But what I found really unique about your book, Deontay, is that the fact that you also chose to start off with defining porn, but you defined porn and you broke it down into 4 categories. So what I would like you to do is just share with our guests what those 4 categories are that you feel define what porn is.
So I broke porn down into 4 categories. Well, I talked about the different kinds of porn, right? And so we're going to talk about porn. A lot of times you think about porn can be a broad topic, right? A broad topic, broad generic topic, but I break it down into these categories. So you have like what I would call the soft porn, right? And so the soft porn is the porn that you would find in your movies, like the sex scenes, like, you know, the rated R movies, sex scenes, baby boy, I love you, Jody, oh, I love you. Yeah, that I call that soft porn, right? Then you have the literary porn, right? That's your magazines, that's your Zane books. And I don't know if y'all ever read Zane's books, but Zane can get you stirred up. Zane can get you in the mood to where, you know, I've even heard people say that they have just been at a place when they read Zane's because it's so descriptive, right? And so that.
Well, let me tell you about Zane.
What?
I used to be a cheerleading coach, and I coached her daughter. So I know who Zane really is.
Zane.
And I'm going to tell you, I wasn't familiar with her books. But when I went over to her house one time for her daughter, she opened up the warehouse and told me to pick up whatever I want. So I picked up 5 books. And yes, them books is off the chain.
Off the chain. Off the chain. It will get you started. Like, you know, it will get you started. It will get you in a place where you be like, woo, like. And so that's why, you know, we're going to get into that part later. But yeah, the soft porn, literary porn, what else did I say? I said it's the hardcore porn, right? The hardcore porn is what you find, the XXX sites, the XXX movies. You see all of the penetration, detail, the full, you know, kit and caboodle. Ain't nothing hidden. It's all there, right?
Antoinette Wallace said Jane was the truth. What you say was for Antoinette?
Antoinette Wallace. That's my cousin right there.
Rose Heeman's checking in for London, UK. Sharon in London. Thank you.
Oh, we got London. We got London.
Thank you.
I'm trying to come to the UK. Can you buy me a plane ticket so I come out there and talk about the book? Thank you.
Okay, so, and what's the last one that you got? You said hardcore porn.
Hardcore porn, soft porn, literary porn. It's another one. You said it was another one.
It was 4 of them.
It was 4 of them.
Hold on. Let's get to it.
It was 4 of them.
Hardcore, soft porn.
Yeah.
The videos.
Oh. Yeah, the videos. Yeah, them videos.
Music videos. Is porn, guys. Yeah. Some of them.
Right. Yeah, and you know, the videos, like the rap videos and stuff like that, with people twerking. Oh, man, that stuff. Listen, to a porn addict, those videos can start some stuff. Those videos can really get you in a place to where, you know, even for me, when I found myself working my way towards deliverance and I found myself trying to, you know, get away from it and be free and be clean, from it, it would be the little things that would get me started back up again. It would be the little things that would trigger. And so I talk about that too. You got to know what your triggers are. Not just with porn, but with any kind of addiction, with anything that you're trying to be free from, you got to know what your triggers are. And so I knew for me, especially when I was trying to jumpstart my way into deliverance and the deliverance process, I had to know what my triggers were. So I knew I couldn't be on social media for a long period of time. Like I knew I couldn't watch certain videos, couldn't watch certain movies, because certain things would just get me started mentally, right? And I talk about that, the art gallery of the mind. And so when it comes to porn, right, and so some people think, okay, saved, sanctified, and addicted to porn, overcoming sexual perversion. So what is the book about? Does it talk about, sexual positions? Does it talk about okaying it?
It's all in there.
It's all in there. You got to get the book. You got to get the book.
Yeah, it tells you about how to do it religiously and everything in there. So,
Right.
Look, they all go by
how to do it religiously, right? How to get delivered and maintain your deliverance religiously. No, not even religiously, but spiritually, right?
Spiritually,
yeah.
I'm just messing. You know, I gotta be crazy here.
She got to trip me up though.
So of course the people want to know, how did you get addicted to porn? How did that all start?
It started at age 13. Right, and so I was.
Did y'all
13.
hear that? So some of y'all got kids watching this.
Right.
I'm not gonna say tell them to turn away from it, because we're gonna get into that thing about children too.
Right.
So at the age of 13, y'all know I had a previous guest that his stuff still. You want to talk about soft porn?
Yeah.
Started with watching the credits of General Hospital at the age of 4.
Wow.
Making them desire sex. So we've had this before.
Right.
So
and
at 13, you had what going on?
And so, to piggyback on what you just said, a lot of times we don't want to talk about this in church, right? It's a taboo subject. But the reality is, how you think children's church got so big? Because folk are so engaged in explicit stuff, right? We don't want to talk about it. And I think the problem with the church is we've become to a place to where we're more so reactive rather than preventive and proactive. And so the only time we talk about sex is when something happens, when a scandal comes out, or when somebody's pastor and had a kid with one of the members.
How many y'all done talked about R. Kelly in the church service in the last couple of weeks?
Right. But the thing about it is, not even touching on the R. Kelly thing, but the thing is, we all have issues. But the thing is, don't wait till something happens to then you want to address it. You knew such and such had an issue or problem, but you talked about it behind their back, but you didn't say, hey, you all right? I see you wrestling with something. There's help, because in church, we don't want to talk about counseling, right? We think we can just pray it away.
Well,
some stuff you need.
before we jump to all that, get back to 13
years
old.
Oh, so 13 years old,
right? Reel him
in. 13 years old. Real men, because I go on, black preachers, we go on a tangent, right? We can go on exit 5 and we just going somewhere else.
That's okay.
Right?
YGT got you.
Yeah, that's why you got me, Tasha. That's what you like hanging with your girl, Tasha, right?
Right.
All right, so age 13, so here's the interesting thing, right? So when I was 13 years old, I gave my life to Christ, and I was shown my first pornographic flick and became addicted all in the same year. So now it's like I'm in the middle, and you got these two things that are wrestling for my soul, kind of like. And so the reality is, we need to talk about it, because the reality is statistics like to say about 53% of kids from age 11 to 16 are addicted, they get exposed to their first pornographic flick or first pornographic material.
And how did you get your pornographic flick?
From somebody I knew. So my mother had a boyfriend. I'm not gonna tell too much, because you gotta still buy a book, right? But I'm gonna tell you, right? It wasn't from a stranger, but it was from somebody I trusted, and from somebody I knew, and from somebody that lived in my house at the time.
Y'all would not imagine how this joker brought it to him. Y'all gotta read it.
You gotta read the book. But overall, right? So I was shown my first pornographic flick by my mother's former boyfriend, right? And so it just kind of started something. It planted a seed. So I didn't get addicted right away, but it planted a seed. So you got to be careful what you expose yourselves to, because certain things will drop seeds. Seeds end up manifesting into trees and manifesting into fruits and all that other kind of stuff. Who's saying something?
LaTasha said he ain't nervous no more. He just going. That's right.
Yeah,
we loosen it up.
Yeah.
Terrence from Chicago says pornography has lust and spirits attached to it. But
Absolutely. It's a spirit, right? And spirits have, and I'm a preacher, so I talk about spirits, right? So spirits have no boundaries. They have no boundaries. They don't care how old you are. They don't care what you look like. They don't care how your size. They don't care about none of that. All they need is a vulnerable vessel, right? A vulnerable vessel to deal with, and a vulnerable vessel to use and to function in, right? because we are human beings, but we have spirits, right? Scripture even says that, not even getting into the theological aspect, when we pass away, it's asleep. So our spirit goes back to God, but our bodies are just there, right? So we're spirit. We wrestle with spirits on a daily basis, right? We say it all the time. You got a good spirit, I like your spirit, or you got a bad spirit, I don't fool with that person, right? So yeah, it's a spirit, but you got to be thoughtful and mindful about what you entertain.
All right, now. What'd you say? Disney is jumping off point now.
Disney?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Did we call you Disney?
Who's Disney?
I don't know. They said your thing said Disney is jumping off point, and Lamika Robinson says that exposure happens so early now.
Yeah.
Okay, so with the it splits and stuff. So look, one thing you didn't touch in there, because you got to read it. Mm-hmm. You didn't touch on there. During the book, you did not reveal to your mother that the boyfriend had did this.
Right.
So my question is, once you came out with the book and your mother learned that, what was that discussion like?
Oh my goodness. So
and how long was it? When did you write this book?
So I started the book right when I was serious about my deliverance. So about 3 years ago. It's going on 4 years in April now. Right.
Okay.
Right. It's
so
going on 4
all
years
these
in
years
April.
you had her just thinking that you was just Don Juan and found the pornography by yourself.
Right. So in the book, I talk about when my mother first found the sites on the computer. That's how she found out about it. Mm-hmm. She asked me a question, and I lied to my mother about it. Now, had she had known the truth, I ain't going to tell you what it is. You got to buy the book. Now, had she had known the truth, I would have had help long before, or there would have been intervention long before, right? And so I was going to, I was on my way to church that day, actually. Young, saved, going to church, working in the audio ministry. I was a junior trustee in the church, so I was actively involved. Boy Scouts, one of your producers, he was, heading the Boy Scouts, And so I was actively involved, but I was wrestling with something to where I felt like I had no help. I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't know who to go to. So I just felt like I'm by myself.
God had put the life preserver out there for you to grab, and you chose not to grab it.
Yeah. If I knew then what I know now, right? Because honestly, for me, I wish there was a book like this.
I knew then what I know
right,
now.
And that's the truth. That's my truth. I wish I had somebody talking to me about this. I wish that there was somebody coming to my church saying, "Hey, yeah, you're young, you're handsome. You handsome, right? But you got flesh. You have flesh that you got to still control and discipline. You follow what I'm saying? So yes, I'm in church. You gifted and anointed, but the thing is, with great anointing must come great discipline." Right? One of the dangerous men in the world that you can ever find is a man who's very gifted, very anointed, but he has no discipline. And a man, our biggest weakness has always been a woman, always been sex, always been not having control over this flesh. That's why Paul said, I love what Paul said in the Bible. He said, I beat my body and make it my slave. So that after I do all this preaching, after I do all this hooping and hollering, my charismatic preachers and Baptist preachers, after I do all of this, I'm not missing out. Right, I would feel terrible if I preach the people to heaven and I miss out and I don't go to heaven because
we got Chicago preaching with you. He said, "He that cometh to God must worship Him in spirit and in truth."
Yeah, and so and to thy own self be true. Right? What is integrity? In spirit and in truth. Integrity, doing the right thing even when ain't nobody paying attention to you, or when you think ain't nobody seeing you. Right, so
now I'm about to reel him back in. Back to my question I asked 15 minutes ago. What was the conversation?
The conversation.
With your mama
so the conversation.
She saw this book.
The conversation. So when she saw the book was first published, and I was out of town. Mm-hmm. And I sent the books to her house so I can make sure somebody got the books. Somebody stole the packages. And so she was so pressed. She was like, "Can I open it? Can I open it?" I said, "Yeah, go ahead, Mom, open it. The first book, I'll sign it. You can read it."
So this is really the first time she learned it? You didn't tell her and prepare her for it?
I prepared her for it, but I didn't tell her what was in it. I didn't tell her what was in it. I didn't tell her what was in it. Okay. And so she opened the books, and I never forgot. I was on vacation with my dad, actually, at the time. And we were on vacation, and she was texting me as she was reading it. And she was reading the book, and she called me, and she said, if I had known how you got addicted, when you got exposed, because for her, she kind of, I guess she kind of felt bad because it happened under her nose. right? And so it's no diss to her at all because she's an awesome mother, raised by a single mother, awesome mother. She did what she could to provide for me, took care of me, worked hard, all that kind of stuff.
But it happened under her nose because you allowed it to happen.
Yeah,
I mean,
and because I played a part in it. I played a part in it, and right. And so sometimes, you know, when stuff happens to us, we like to put the blame on other people, right? He may have, you know, somebody may have planted a seed, but I also had a choice afterwards to say, okay, I'm gonna continue to indulge in it, or I'm going to put a stop to it.
Just said?
Have a choice.
Choice.
We all have choices.
How you spell that thing?
CHOICE.
Yes, you got
you got a choice, right?
All right,
you got a choice. You got a choice. He laughing at you, but you got a choice. He laughing back there, but you got a choice. We all have choices, and that's the beauty about serving God, right? Because He gives us choices. He gives us the opportunity to say, "Hey," that's the beautiful thing about God, because He don't force His hand on you, right? He'll tell you. He'll tell you, nah, choose ye this day who you gonna serve. You gonna serve, you know, me? You gonna follow me or what? But the conversation, I'm reeling myself back in now, right?
All right,
right.
Go ahead.
So the conversation, she said, had I had known what happened, you know, but overall, when she read the book, and she was just saying, I'm just glad that the Lord covered you, and you're able to talk about it. And even though it happened, you didn't tell me about it. You didn't tell me the truth. You lied to me to my face, because she asked me an ultimate question that day. When she found out I was looking at it, she asked me an ultimate question. And I lied about it, you know. And so, of course, naturally, teenage kids, sometimes they lie to your parents. You know, I lied to my mother. I love you, mother. I'm sorry for lying to you. Please forgive me. I love you. I'm going to buy you some roses when I get up out of here.
All right, now, so guys, we know that you are sitting here, and I'm watching the comments. When I look down at the phone, those of you who are my new viewers, I look down at the phones because I'm interacting with you guys in the chat. When I say share and invite is really free. Y'all want to make sure this gets out. Deontay's story has to get out, and it's going to bless somebody. Because the bottom line is, some of y'all on here, y'all got your own addictions with porn. I cannot tell you about how many people have saw the topic on my page and privately inboxed me and told me that they had porn addictions and they had went through it, and they believe that's true. Even one that was a senior citizen told me. I was like, get out of here. Stop this, okay? And it's just different things. People are living with this stuff and they're struggling with it, and we got to share with them. If any of you guys would like to call in, make a comment, ask a question, share your own testimony. If you want to release something, the phone number to dial in is 301-429-9247. Again, that number is 301-429-9247. Call on in here. Talk to Deontay. Make sure you turn your background noise down because we don't want to hear that feedback. But go ahead and call in here and give us your comments and stuff. I hear a lot of people talking about the book is an awesome book and all this other kind of stuff in your watch party. And people are just preaching over in the other watch party. Hashtag triggers. They said hashtag triggers. All right now. Triggers. Shoot. So let me one thing I want to know about, of course, you were involved in relationships. Okay. How did your addiction impact the relationships that you had? I mean, even as a teenager, then you got married. Right. And you're divorced from that marriage, and you're looking to get married again, right? You said she was your fiance?
Yeah, she is. She got a ring on her finger. Okay, yeah, that's
Miss Robinson got a ring on it.
She got a ring on it.
All right,
we don't play them games.
So tell us, how did your addiction impact the relationships that you had?
It impacted my relationship, well, when I was married, right? So part of the reason to why I made the decision, because I didn't have many girlfriends, because I felt like, and I talk about, well, what causes a person to want to go to the porn addiction, right? Right. I talk, and one of the causes is sometimes you have low self-esteem, right? And so for me, that was one of the reasons why I ran to it so much, because I felt like I was so unattractive. I didn't have, great self-esteem about myself. I felt like I was the ugliest thing walking on the planet, right? And so I always got rejected, right? And so what ended up happening was, with porn, the actors, like the female actors, they don't say those things to you that you're ugly. They look in the camera as if they're making love to you, right? And so for me, that's why I always indulge in it. It gave me a sense of feeling loved and feeling like, well, they love me and all of this. And so what I ended up doing with my young self, I got married at age 19.
Wow.
I was 19 years old when I got married.
What made you do that? We're about to go off script on this.
Many different things made me do it, right? And so,
who thinks about getting married at 19?
I did, and I did it, right?
But why?
And I did it. Many different factors. Why? I mean, I'll go into too much detail with it. I mean, one of the things was I was young. I wasn't making the wisest decisions that I should have made. I was in school. I had graduated. I met my ex-wife when I was 18. I met her when I was like turning 18.
So not only did you get married at 19, it was only about 1 year that you guys knew each other and you got married.
Yeah, I met her I was 17 going on 18, and I had got married at 19. Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about that on the next show.
Yeah, you can bring me back though when we talk about that.
Oh, yeah, we'll talk
that's
about
a whole other book.
Because you're trying to switch the story on here.
That was
she pregnant?
No, she wasn't pregnant.
Go ahead.
No, she wasn't pregnant. No,
okay.
She wasn't pregnant.
Going back to
no, she wasn't pregnant.
Go ahead back to what your
and so
cause was.
So I did bring the addiction into my marriage, and it was the addiction itself was helping me cope with my low self-esteem, right? And so I talk about the reasons why certain people, sometimes you get bored, curiosity, low self-esteem. Those are some of the reasons that causes a person to want to go. That thing is going on.
You got question marks, 19, question, 19.
Yeah, that's my truth. And so I did take it into my marriage, and a lot of things happen in the marriage. Without bashing your former spouse. I don't believe in, doing that kind of thing, especially on camera. You don't bash people. That's the mother of my children. Respect her. But at the end of the day, there were some things that happened, right? Yeah, we got to be mature, even, But there were some things that happened, in the marriage to where I felt like, it was also helping me cope with things that was going on in my marriage. And so, yeah, intimacy took a hit because guess what? After a while, I found myself waking up, going in the bathroom and taking care of myself rather than engaging in the addiction, on top of other problems that were going on, and on top of other feelings that I had about how I felt like, I was being treated or what have you in the marriage. So you got stuff on top of stuff on top of stuff, and I'm running to this addiction to kind of cope with everything, right? And just breaking away from the world, breaking away from my problems. And so you'd be surprised about the many different reasons. And so, yeah, a lot of things, intimacy did take a hit. With that, so yeah, it does.
Okay, so that fall over because we're gonna flip because you talked about cause and effect, and I'm not gonna get into all the causes and effect. But one of the first causes and effect that you said that you talked about too, other than not feeling attractive or whatever, being rejected, loneliness, is boredom.
Yeah.
And I just found it very interesting. We all know about the shutdown that happened.
Yeah.
Now, did you hear about with the shutdown? That they documented that porn views went up by 6%.
I heard.
More people in the DMV was watching porn during the shutdown. So all you federal workers, y'all need to be listening to Deontay right now, because they said that the sites went up, and they said really even with women, a lot of the women numbers as a percentage went up too. So boredom is something. Yup, come on.
You want to know something? Since this book has come out, I've had the pleasure of talking to many people. And one thing I thought pornography, masturbation, all that stuff, I thought it was a man problem or just a man problem. I found more women coming to me about, I wrestle with this and this is what I go through. And I found more women having like legit, honest conversations about their struggles. And I'm like,
my senior citizen is a woman that told me that she had a porn addiction.
And it's real.
Recently.
It's real. And so, those are some of the causes and effects. And so boredom is isolation and, idleness are a dangerous combination, right? Isolation and being idle, having nothing to do. That's why for me, I have to stay busy. Like I cannot have a second to where it seems like I have nothing to do, right?
All right,
you gotta be careful with that boredom. That's dangerous. It's dangerous.
So look, guys, at this moment right now, I gotta pay my sponsors. So we're gonna go ahead and take a quick commercial break, and we'll see you guys on the flip side. Remember, prepare to call in 301-429-9247.
And we hanging with your girl Tasha.
Hey.
Yeah.
There's nothing as horrifying than using a public restroom. Sure, maybe they're not that scary, but I'm sure everyone has had to use a public restroom under less than ideal conditions. Like public restrooms that haven't been restocked with essentials like paper towels or seat covers. Many times toilet paper is missing or found loose on the nasty floor, too soiled to use. The solution is simple. Just carry the restroom kit with you. Each kit contains a patented seat cover, plenty of toilet paper, and 2 lightly scented wipes. One for your hands and the other one for your tush. Turn a public restroom into a pleasurable experience with the restroom kit.
Order your kits today at therestroomkit.com.
Hello, this is Stevie Weeby Jones, here to do a little testifying today. I've had 2 weight loss surgeries in my life. I had the lap band back in 2008, and that was unsuccessful. And December 2017, I went back and had the gastric sleeve done. They took the lap band out, and I had the sleeve performed. And during the course of this past year, it was a very trying time. I lost like 70 pounds, and then I hit a wall, and then I ended up gaining back 10 pounds. And, very frustrated. I was exercising and everything, and I just, couldn't get over that hump for several months, and I got very discouraged. I met a young lady named Matisse Brown, the love of my life. Hey, baby. And she told me she had this tea that she wanted me to try, and I was a little skeptical, but I went on and tried it anyway. And next thing you know, I was like, wow, my energy levels went through the roof. My stomach started going down. My weight loss, I jump started that. And it's just been a miracle product. I am not getting paid for this. But I'm going to tell you right now, I've lost 105 pounds total. 60 pounds I can contribute to the weight loss surgery itself. The other 45 I can contribute to Vita Divina Detox Tea, Oh yeah, absolutely. And I also do the Vita Lean, which is the meal replacement shake. And I feel so good, and I'm still losing weight. And I'm just gonna give you an example of what I used to look like. I weigh 235 pounds now. That was me when I weighed 340 pounds. Enough said. Bye-bye.
So that commercial about sponsors there, you have got to make sure that you go ahead and support the restroom kit. All of you guys know that when you go to those public restrooms, and understand a public restroom is not just the bathroom that's outside. When you go to your friend's house, that's a public restroom too, because you don't know how they clean it. So get you a restroom kit, because they're protecting bottoms all over the world. And as far as anybody is looking to get healthy, reclaim your health, call your girl Tasha. Let's have a health goal discussion. I got you for 2019. But back in the studio. Mr. Deontay Carroll.
It is I in the flesh.
The author. If you're just checking in, you got to make sure you go back and hit the replay. If you're just checking in, you got to hit share. You got to hit invite. Drop your name and drop where you are. Know that you can call in. I put the number in the chat. It's 301. It's on the screen. 429-9247. Pull out the bifocals. Check it out. 301-429-9247. Call in with us. So Deontay's hanging with your girl Tasha, and we're talking about porn, and y'all are cringing, and it's okay.
Cringing. And you know you're watching it behind closed doors. You know you was watching before we got on here. Stop faking. But we're going to help you get delivered.
We apologize to each and every one of y'all that just got that big loud thump in your ear because he was right by the microphone.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
So in this whole thing, you revealed that you started your porn addiction at the age of 13 because a friend of the family basically bought you a book. And you also talked about the fact that was the same year that you gave your life over to Christ.
Yeah.
Okay? Hence the name of the book, Saved, Sanctified, and Addicted to Porn.
Right.
Tell me, during this, going through this, what type of help, if any, did you seek out to help you deal with this addiction?
Here's the one interesting thing, and I talk about this. I did seek help. I did try to go to somebody that I went to church with, and this was the same day that my mother found out, because I was on my way to church, and I was so distraught because, as you know, a kid raised by a single parent, you never want to hurt your mother. Right, and I saw how distraught my mother was, and she kind of she didn't know what to do at that point. She didn't know what to say or anything, and so I felt like when I hurt her feelings, I felt like I was hurting God's feelings, like because my mother was my everything, And so when I went to church, and I was so upset about it, and what amazed me about it was the one individual who I kind of trusted made me feel like it was okay. And this is in church. This was somebody in church that made me feel like it was okay. And so he made me feel like it wasn't that bad, wasn't that big of a deal. You know, as long as I wasn't, this is a whole nother topic, but as long as I wasn't looking at nothing, you know, same sex or whatever, it was cool. He expected it to be the natural thing, you know, and as I look back on it now, I wish that the conversation would have been different and his advice would have been different. And in some instances, my life may have even turned out differently. But, I mean, when I felt like it was okay, especially by two things, somebody I trusted and somebody that was in the church, I felt like I was all good.
Well, hold on, Deontay. Wait a minute. People say that sometimes it is okay. There's different degrees on it. You talk about being addicted to porn. Is there any time that it's okay to watch porn that you're not? Can people watch porn and not be addicted to porn?
No, that's just my answer. No.
Okay, support it.
Support it. Why? Because what's the purpose of looking at porn, right? It's first of all, it's selfish. You're gratifying self, right? And then not only that, you're lusting after people that you don't know. You're lusting after people in a sexual way, right? And so because I am saved, I am a preacher, and so I live by a certain spiritual and biblical, you know, standard that I have, right? And so these are my beliefs. I don't, you know, force anybody or shove the Bible. You ask me a question, I'm going to just say, this is what I believe, right? And so I believe in a certain code of holiness, right? And even for me, I know what my struggle was. Like I can't look at porn and be like, oh, that's it. You know, like it's.
But let's see, you was looking at porn how often?
Too often. Like it was at the time. It was 6 times a day.
Okay.
Sometimes sometimes.
So the person that might look at it once or twice a year.
Mm-hmm. But what are you doing? Are you getting anything spiritual out of it? Are you getting anything good out of it? What are you getting out of it?
I don't know, because you know what? I told you we did the whole Merriam-Webster dictionary, but as you also talk about how parents have to know what the slang is and what your kids are talking about.
Yeah.
So a lot of things, a tool that I find very helpful in figuring out what the lingo is of course going to the Urban Dictionary.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, usually when you go to the Urban Dictionary, you find at least one definition that matches the real dictionary. Mm-hmm. And I was amazed at putting in the word porn today, and how a lot of people took it to be funny. I mean, some of them was like, you looking it up, you know what it means.
Yeah.
Some people were like, it's something that, one actually said it's something that middle schoolers should look at and virgins should look at so they could be prepared to be excellent in the bed. So I was really like distraught that it's just because of the show today that I went in there and looked at it, and the various definitions that are put in by individuals, people don't take it seriously.
Yeah. Well, you said something. You said middle schoolers should look at it, you know, so they can learn how to be
Urban Dictionary said that, not your Girl Tasha,
yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, Urban Dictionary said, you know, I guess middle
schoolers.
Some
fool on it said that.
Some fools said middle schoolers should look at it to learn how to be excellent in bed, and I would have to disagree with that. Simple, because I feel like, of course, you know, as I grow older, and you know, you excel in the Word of God and in my relationship with God and things of that nature. I excel because I disagree, because simple thing is this: I believe, of course, sex is for marriage, right? You know, and of course, me and my fiance were waiting. You know, that's a whole nother topic. But I think intimacy should be special, right? Because if you're watching porn and you're trying to learn how to be great in bed, right? You go in the bedroom trying to compare your significant other or your spouse, right, to the standards of something that's imaginary, that's not real. And if you really look at interviews of pornographic stars, a lot of the stuff they do, they say it's uncomfortable. They don't want to do it. It's not realistic. It's not what women want. And so we're going off of this imagination of what intimacy is or what intimacy should be. And we try to hold our spouses and our partners, you know, for those who aren't married and engaged in sex for whatever reason, right? We try to hold them to a standard that's imaginary, rather than creating those moments, right? When you get married, you know, this is just my standard because this is who I am. I'm a preacher. I ain't ashamed of it, right? And so when you get married, you should be able to create memories with your spouse. I shouldn't have to be comparing you to something that's imaginary or comparing you to an ex-partner. It's a whole other topic, right? You know, that's why sometimes, you know, relationships or the intimacy takes a hit because you're comparing your spouse. Right, so this is why I find it's a problem, right? Because it brings in other problems that don't have to be there. So
I guess your answer to whether or not... Oh, phone calls.
Phone calls.
Oh, wrong line. Oh, they hung up. Call back.
Call back.
Yo, what's up? We get the notification that you guys are already gone. 301-429-9247. You ringing already? I don't know. Is that you on the line? Are they back? Because I don't want to start another question and somebody on the phone, because phone calls take precedence on Your Girl Tasha. Are we back?
And we love the callers.
Hello, hello, hello. It's gone again. Is it problems with the phone? Okay, I can't even tell you to call my phone because my phone on Do Not Disturb. Okay. Oh, Lord. I got it. Hanging with Your Girl Tasha, Mr. Victor Bell. How are you this evening? Is that you that hung up 2 times?
No, I didn't hang up. I was trying to make sure I was still on.
Okay, so you knew. So here we go. This is Mr. Vic Bell. What do you have for Mr. Deontay Carroll?
Hey, Dante, how you doing, brother? This is an amazing testimony. I wanted to say that.
Deontay.
Deontay, I apologize.
It's all right.
And I wanted to ask, was the sensation of watching porn, was the sensation of whatever activity you gave yourself to after while you were watching, did it serve a purpose for you that will feel a void of emptiness or some void of satisfaction that you had never really dealt with or that you eventually had to deal with as you were overcoming the stronghold?
Temporary satisfaction, right? Because even after it made me feel good for the moment of, release, right? After it was all over with, I still felt lonely. I still felt the low self-esteem. I still felt like I wasn't loved. I still felt that feeling of being rejected, right? And so even after the first time of indulging in it and engaging in the activity, right, I could never get that first high. Right, just like a drug addict, but it's just a different addiction. I could never get that first high, and so the purpose was I felt dirty, I felt unclean, I felt like I was the worst thing walking on the planet. But the thing about it was nobody else knew about it but me, and I was feeling worse the more I engaged in. I kept feeling worse the more that I allowed myself to continue to entertain, the activity. So I hope
that's amazing that you say that.
Mm-hmm.
It's very. It's almost spot on to my testimony.
Okay.
Overcoming down to homosexuality.
Right.
And how the satisfaction of that life did not fulfill the complete emptiness, anger, pride, loneliness, fear, insecurity, with things that still were very prevalent even after giving yourself to the life. So I thank God for your testimony. I thank God for your deliverance. And it's powerful. It's going to help a lot of people. It's helping a lot of people.
Thank you for calling, Mr. Vic.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Have a good one.
Bless you.
All right, so we already talked about how you decided on the title of the book, right?
Yeah.
And we already talked about that in the beginning. Yeah. We got there. You went out and you sought back to seeking addictions, because we got off topic with that. With him saying that it was normal.
Yeah.
What is your advice to men or even a woman, I don't know too many females that if a young girl comes to us and says that I'm masturbating and I'm watching porn and all this stuff, that we're going to tell them it's normal. I think that's more of a testosterone type of thing that's going on there. So what's your advice to men who have young boys, like in your case, that come to them and ask that question? We act like it's a badge of honor. Is that a good or a bad thing? And how should they truly be handling it?
It's definitely not a good thing, right? And so my advice to anybody or to any person that has young brother or young male, whoever you are that's young, my thing is I can't stress enough discipline, right? In order to be great in anything, because guess what? For me, I lost focus with this.
Focus. Hold that right there.
Uh-huh.
Hanging with Your Girl Tasha. Who's calling and where are you calling from?
This is Kmart the Black Sheep from Black Sheep Radio. I'm calling from Maryland.
All right. Hey, Kmart. You got something to say to Deontay?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask him, how does he, what is his safe place for when he has urge for pornography? A lot of brothers ask, what is it that keeps him from going to the pornography now that he's been delivered?
Well, the first thing, tell me your name, Kmar. I think the first thing that I have to do, or that I do, is I have to continue to have it in my mind that I want to be free, or I want to maintain, my deliverance, right? You want to be free. It's one thing to say, okay, I'm delivered, but you still got to maintain that deliverance. You still got to do checkups, right? And so for me, I got to know what my triggers are. I got to know the things that take me over the edge. And what I do when I do get those urges, because guess what? I'm a man with desires, right? And so I'm a spiritual person, so I fast, I pray. I say, God, help me, right? And then you got to do things to kind of learn how to function in your environment, right? So I know, I can't hang around certain conversations. I can't hang around certain people to where, they're going to encourage me to go back. You know what I'm saying? This is almost 4 years that I've been walking, clean, right? And so I can. You have to know.
These young men that you have to put your situation in a place where once you try to go there, you're exposed.
Right.
And that's good stuff, man. Like as far as like your wife and yourself, like how do you fight the urge to try to compare your wife to what you've seen or what has been already planted in your mind? What is it that keeps you from going to that place instead of being intimate with your wife? What is that thing that you do?
Well, right now I'm not married, so I'm not doing any kind of activity at all until I get married. Okay. And so that's a great question to ask, actually, because I go from a man who was married, right? A man who was married, and then a man who at the same time had an addiction. So I had self-pleasure, at my disposal anytime I wanted to. And to go from that to a divorced man to now an engaged man who's so much attracted to his fiance, but I'm living by saying I can't do anything until I get married. I can't do even, none of this, right? So it takes discipline to flow in that. It takes discipline and self-control to maintain that. And so what I do is, Deontay, this is bigger than you. Right, this work where God has got you, this book that He has you on, that you've written, it's bigger than you. I would hate to have to written this book, be hanging with your girl Tasha, and then I relapse, and then all of this will be in vain. Right, it's bigger than me, because it's people that are looking at this from the UK, wherever you're looking from. It's bigger than me, right? Because not only is it about me maintaining my deliverance, but people need hope. People need to see a living example that it's true, that you can actually do this. Right? Yeah. It's one thing, and I'm a preacher, so I uphold the word of God with the most, right? It's one thing to say, hey, the word of God or following Jesus is something they did in the past, but this is something that you can still do and practice and put into action.
All right, sweetie. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you for your transparency. Taj, you're killing it. You're on WBGR. You're doing your thing. But Deontay, man, I thank you for your transparency. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you so much.
I need you on that show too.
All right, call us back and we'll get you in contact with them. We'll drop a comment or send me a message in my inbox. We got you.
I got you, sis. Keep doing your thing.
Thank you. Okay, so that kind of goes, and time is going by quick. Quick here. You answered one of my questions that I had. You're saying that you've been clean for 4 years, okay? And you talked about in the book about counterfeit deliverance and true deliverance.
Yeah.
So I think that this is an appropriate time for you to explain the difference between counterfeit deliverance. And we got another call. Hanging with your girl Tasha, who's calling, and where are you calling from?
Good evening. Can
you please turn on your background?
I'm sorry, the phone is ringing. That's my fault. All right. Can you hear me?
Yes. Who's calling, and where are you calling from, love?
This is LaTasha calling in from North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Hey, North Carolina in the house.
Yes. So I'm calling in from the reply of my comment where you had asked, what would you say to the young men? Maybe not so much the young women, but for me, I was addicted before, and it goes back to what Deontay had mentioned. We do have choices. And with me, when I took my spiritual walk, when I took it serious and I read the things that Jehovah God appreciates and what He doesn't, that was something that I had to set aside because it was something that He detests, as well as it was not honoring my marriage bed with my husband. So I made a choice to leave that alone. And it's not limited to males. It's very rampant with females as well. And as I mentioned before in the previous comment, I came across tapes when I was with was my father. Now, granted, he didn't want me to find them, and I don't know if it was his or my uncle's, but I found them, and I was watching them. And, of course, he didn't know I was watching them, but that started when I was a young girl, probably around 13, like Beyonce said.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, LaTasha. We appreciate you calling in and sharing your testimony.
Thank you for calling in.
You're welcome.
All right.
Thank
Bye-bye. Okay, so let me hop over before I go back to you over here with your thing. I've told Miss Do right here is I was going to come back to her. She said pornography programs are used to lower our standards sexually, basically. It encourages us to seek sex and in some cases build intimate and unhealthy relationships with people who are willing to have sex without boundaries. Then over here, I think this kind of ties in together with what LaTasha was just sharing, the fact of her finding tapes and things of that nature. It might tie in with it because you guys are writing novels in the comments. If you could write a novel in a comment, you could call in here on the phone.
Call in.
But anyway, we have what advice do you have for teenage males who are struggling with porn addictions, and what advice for parents of how to identify attributes to porn addiction? So that was like kind of like one of the questions that I had as well, and we'll get back to the counterfeit versus true deliverance.
Right. So you got
another call.
Yeah, another call. Y'all calling in, boy.
Hanging with your girl Tasha, who's calling, and where are you calling from?
Now, this is the Beyonce.
What's up, Ladybug? How are you? Nice to meet you.
I couldn't. I of course have to call because conversations about this book and even some broader topics. And so I was calling because I wanted to ask a question about the impact for anybody, because I think that the conversation that's being had is more than just about pornography as a topic. I think it's an issue also of people having challenges, because addictive behaviors is also sometimes, I think, a reflection of other areas. It's like the difference between me being mad at my son because he screams in my car while I'm on the phone, and then me being concerned about what made him scream. And so I guess I was wondering what your thoughts were about the impact of people's perceptions or the idea of shame as it relates to getting any form of help, because there's a lot of different things people struggle with, like you can be sanctified and a cheater or whatever, but sometimes people are silent because of shame. And I was just wondering, how much of an impact the idea of shame affected your journey with trying to figure out how to get released from something that had taken your power.
Well, that's the fiance right there. But shame has made it was the reason why I was quiet for so long. It was the reason to why I just stayed silent and didn't seek help or try to say to myself, I can manage it, I can do it on my own, I'll figure it out. I don't want nobody to look down on me because they find out I've had this problem or this addiction, because the reality is a lot of times in church, when we try to reach out to people in the church and tell them what we're struggling with, we get a lot of judgment, we get a lot of pushback. Oh, they're not this, they're not that, and we feel bad, right? And rather than feeling like we feel empowered to walk upright, it's more so of a feeling to where, I'm this kind of just nasty person that God just does not love, or he just dislikes me that much, right? God loves you. Oh, he loves you. He loves you so much to where he will put people in your life to love on you that much to where they'll, as my elders would say, they'll love the hell out you. They'll love to sin out you, right? Right? Because love is greater, far greater than a multitude of sin. So it's the ability to find yourself or connect yourself with people that actually have your best interest to where you can trust. Right. And so for me, that's what I had to do. I had to surround myself around people who were, that were trying to walk the same path, that say, hey, I had the same struggle, but here's what I did. Right. And guess what? You're still anointed, but at the same time, you still got struggles, too. And so it's no need to be ashamed. The more I became vocal about it, I cared less about what other people thought. I cared less about how people perceive me. You follow what I'm saying? I found people being more quiet when I preached because I found out they got their own struggles, too, just like I did.
So look, one of the questions that I also had, Miss Lamika, and I'm glad that you were actually on here too, because I think it could tie in together. Because my viewers kind of know, or any of my guests that have been on the show, when you come on the show, I tell you that you can submit me a group of questions for me to consider for your interview. Yeah. And personally, with all the questions that Deontay submitted to me, I didn't like none of them. So I haven't asked one of the questions. But a question that I have is, how do you have, with you breaking that addiction, when you met somebody, when you met Miss Robinson, what did that change about, quote unquote, for lack of better words, your interview process with a person that you begin dating? Because sometimes you get caught up with people. What if she was into porn? How do you interview that person to decide that you're not falling back with somebody that's going to cause you to have their relapse? It's not going to be that circle that you need to stay on the path so you don't disappoint all the people that you're sharing this testimony with. So what was that conversation like between the two of you?
Well, actually, she's the reason to why I even published this book.
All right.
And we were just friends when I actually wrote the book, because I had started it during my last marriage. I put it down. A lot of things had happened, and I was actually afraid to tell her that I had such an addiction. And so I was telling her about what I had to go through, and I had started the manuscript, because this is my second book. And so she was like, "How dare you stop this book?" She said, "The church needs to hear it. The world needs to hear it. There's a lot of people that are going through this." And it was at that moment to where, that's how you know you got a good woman, when she can really talk to that inner genius in you. In a matter of 2 months, I was able to finish this book. So she knew about it. And the fact that she pushed me to finish this is the reason why it's here. And you see why she got a ring on the finger. Because, yeah.
All right. So, I got something, because it's like this time is like running down. People are putting comments in and stuff, and there are other questions that need to be had. Well, you already coming back later on, but you're gonna have to bring. Will she be?
She actually.
Carroll by then?
When is this? Is it in July?
I don't know. We got to see when the new studio opens up. We'll have to see here. But we might have to have you come back on here. And depending on how this goes right now, I don't know. I might have to have y'all back here next Monday tied up with one of my other guests, because I can have him switch his topic to fit whatever's going on. So it might be interesting to see how this
We got our own channel, actually. We actually have our own channel, Carroll's Ever After, on YouTube. Go look it up. Carroll's Ever After. We talk about,
One quick thing. Some of you all have a timeline that I'll say is that be careful that as you're pursuing love and you're finding somebody, that you are coming from a place of wholeness, that you reconcile everything about yourself, that you put a mirror to yourself. Because if you're looking for someone else to be your strength and to be your wholeness, then if they walk out of your life, if that love breaks down, then your wholeness and your healing and your strength will break down and walk out of the door right with them. And so I think that's one key that he would touch on. And we talk about the type of stuff on our channel as well, but that's the one that I'll probably leave you with until we can pick up the conversation at another point.
That's my boo.
So look. I don't know. I got my, see, Your Girl Tasha, the way I do stuff, that's why my favorite word is BAM. I'm always being authentically me, and I do what I want to do. That's why people love to hang with me. I'm just like your girl. But I do really think that I could really challenge my next guest if I had the two of you back on here with what he does, how he does his thing. So just out of curiosity, would both of y'all be available next Monday if I decide to have you guys back?
Yeah, I'm with it.
All right now. Well, we'll talk to you later. We're going back in here. Thank you for calling in, love.
Love you, boo.
Of course. Be blessed.
You too. So, we were talking about, well, you know what? I want to make sure, because you shared, y'all have your channel. Share how do people get in contact with you? How do they purchase the book? How much is the book? How do you do speaking engagements?
I do speaking engagements. You can hit me up on Instagram at DeontayCarroll.com. It's all one. Just take the apostrophe out, all right? Deontay Carroll. I'm on YouTube. Check out me and my lady. We got our own YouTube channel, Carroll's Ever After, right? We just posted our video up a couple days ago. We got some other stuff coming up. My book, Saved, Sanctified, Addicted to Porn, Overcoming Sexual Perversion. You can find it anywhere books are sold. BarnesandNoble.com, Amazon.com. They can find them at lower prices or what have you. My publisher, you can find it anywhere, okay? Just hit me up, tag, share, subscribe this video. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. I don't care. I respond back to my people. I love y'all. Man, hit me up.
Deborah Wright tried to call in. We saw your call coming in, but the future missus was on the line, so she tied it up. She wanted to tell you that she's so proud of you.
That's my old professor.
And Miss Do Wright said, Lamika, you better go ahead and speak it out, Miss Robinson. Ingrid Richards says, this is such a great show, great point. Love the information, love the content. So, do I want to go back to, because I got a few more minutes here. Are you self-published, since somebody asked that question earlier?
No, I'm not self-published. My publisher is Kingdom Living Book Publishing Company, LLC. Her name is Pastor Irma McKnight. Small independent publisher. This is the second book we've worked on, Love Her Dearly. She has been so patient with me. So y'all look her up. She's in Fort Washington, Maryland. All right. Yeah, and I'm not self-published, no.
And what plans do you have for other projects? Are you looking to do another book? What was your first book about?
Oh, so I'm a poet too, so I do poetry. It was called From Pain to Poetic Justice, Reflections in Poetry. And so I found out I had an urge to write in high school. I was very known for my poetry. I used to be late signing autographs for stuff in the literary magazine. So writing has always been my thing. And of course, I'm a preacher. I go to Christian Fellowship Baptist Church, 1608 Arcadia Avenue. Got to plug it in there, where the pastor is Pastor Lamont W. Robinson, my future father-in-law. Okay.
Shout it out, shout it out.
I know he's listening.
Hold on now. You know how your girl Tasha do it. Guys, really, look for us next week. I think I'm going to bring it back, and look, Mr. Card Logic, you about to get a challenge, because I'm about to make you switch up what we want to do next week. I really think so. I think they're going to be back next week, because I still got other questions that I want to share. But you know how your girl Tasha, I'll change the script. I don't care that I had a question I put out that I didn't get to answer because y'all started calling in. Right now, give me a poem.
Huh? Roses are red, violets are blue. I love my girl Tasha. How about you? That's what it is.
No, give me one of your other poems.
Listen, I haven't written poetry in so long.
You're supposed to know your masterpiece.
I don't know my masterpieces like that by heart. I'm not one to do spoken word like off the top of my head. I gotta write my stuff down. But I tell you what though, you want to learn my poetry? Go buy my first book From Pain to Poetic Justice, Reflections in Poetry. It is on Amazon, just like this.
You ain't no poet.
Yeah, I am.
Every poet know at least one poem.
That ain't necessarily true.
You hit me with roses are red.
Let the works I've done speak for me, because my work is in the book, so go buy it.
Anyway, guys, y'all gonna see us back. Thank you. Next week, we are gonna have Mr. Card Logic on here, and you know how he uses cards to help people deal with emotional stuff. I think that pornography and other addictions is definitely emotional stuff. Relationships is emotional stuff. So I think it'd be interesting to combine what he does along with a religious aspect and viewpoint, or a spiritual aspect and viewpoint of it. So look for the impromptu show next Monday at 5:30. And I am so glad that you got here. You made it through it. You still alive?
I made it through it. I'm still alive. I'm just alive.
Because you was nervous.
Oh, yeah. I'm always nervous. I'm always nervous. Even when I preach, I'm nervous.
All right, and if you had just one thing to say to the viewers, what is it?
If I had one thing to say to the viewers, God loves you. And no matter what you go through, right? Scripture says, now that we have these promises, we got to perfect ourselves in holiness. So you ain't got to be perfect, but work at it. Give God some effort, and I promise you, he'll work with you, but you got to meet him halfway. That's all I got to say.
All right, guys. So that's it. Another episode of Hanging with Your Girl Tasha, down on the books. See you guys next Monday, same time, same place, 5:30 p.m.
Yeah.
Eastern time. Bye-bye.
Sexy lady who walks around without being shady, who knows the values, who's gone through trials, her smile's a capture.